In this video, I'll be going over assignment 16, which is exercise 7.9 in the textbook. And as you can see, I'm actually missing in this textbook this statement, but we can read it here. It says exercise 7.9, rounding to the nearest integer. An application of method math.floor is rounding a value to the nearest integer. The statement y equals math.floor x plus 0.5 will round the number x to the nearest integer and assign the result to y. Write an application that reads double values and uses the preceding statement to round each of the numbers to the nearest integer. For each number process, display both the original number and the rounded number. Alright, so first of all, in the textbook, if we look at section 7.34, seven point three and 7.4, you can see where it talks a little bit about, right here it talks about the using double, and it talks a little bit about using the floor method and in 7.4 it talks more about using the double type of double. And I thought that it had talked about the math.floor method a little bit more. Okay, but anyway, in the chapter you can find out more information about it, but basically we're going to be using double instead of int because we need to perform rounding on the input. In order to do that, we're going to use math.floor, which was explained in the directions to use math.floor, and you cannot use the type of int with math.floor. It cannot be directly used anyway with the math.floor method. And there's other differences between double and integer, but the most relevant to this app is the capacity to use the double value type with math.floor method, which is what we're going to be using. Alright, so we'll start, as we always do, with using system and give it a class of rounding. And we are going to have a main method. And it will not be taking any parameters or arguments. Okay. And then within the main method, we are going to have first we're going to prompt the user to enter a list of decimals. And we're going to have them separate the decimals the numbers, the decimal numbers, by using the space key. So we're going to do a console.writeLine, and we'll say enter a list of decimals. Sorry guys, I was trying to just sneeze. And then we'll say separated by spaces. And then we are going to read, read the user's input as a string. So we're going to say string input, we'll call it input for the user input, and we're going to assign it the value of a console.read line. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the dot split method, which splits an array into an array of substrings based on a delimiter. So here we're going to use a delimiter of the space bar. So we're just going to use a space will be how we'll read the next, how it'll iterate through each, it'll read each number input by the user. So we're going to, let's see. We're going to split the input string into an array of strings. Okay, we're going to split this input string into an array of strings. And we are going to store the value so we're going to store the array of strings in a new variable. And we are going to use space key, space bar, space key. I don't know, we're going to use the space as the delimiter. Okay. So how we do this is we are going to say the string array. Oh, no rules. No. String array. So we're going to create a variable that's an array. It's a string of arrays, and we're going to call that variable numbers. And we're going to assign it the value of input dot split. We're going to use dot split, and it's going to use the delimiter of this space bar. So when the user presses space, so let's say each number should be separated by one space. Okay, so we'll prompt the user to separate their numbers by using just one space. And here, that's how it's going to determine what's the next number to add to this new array that we've called numbers. Okay, so that's how you use the dot split. And now we're going to let's create like the title or headers, I guess, kind of headers. So I'll just say headers, display headers. And we're going to do that by console.writeLine. And I'm going to say, I'm going to give it a tab and say original number. And then I'm going to give it another tab or two. And then say rounded number. So these are like our headers. It'll say original number, and there'll be plenty of space between, and it'll say rounded number. That's basically like a header or titles or whatever. So then we're going to display later the original numbers over here and the rounded numbers over here. And actually, let's do in the middle of this. Actually, no, because that's just the title. So okay. So now we're going to need a for each loop. That way we can iterate through each number of the array. And we're going to use the in keyword in order to do that. So what it's doing in the for each loop by iterating through each number of the array is it's going to assign the current element or the number from the numbers array to the number array variable. All right, so we're going to create a for each loop, which means we will say for each, and then we're going to say string number in numbers. And it's going to say for each, we're going to do this. And what we're going to do for each number in the numbers array, am I saying that right? So numbers array. And we're actually creating this variable here, number, as a string. So we're saving, so we're saving the value of each number in the numbers array, and we're saving it as a number. So we're taking the user input, we're splitting it into an array of numbers, and then we're taking each number from that array and saving it in a string called number. So for each number, we're going to use the type double for this, and we're going to parse. And so we should know how to parse by now. So we're going to parse the variable number, because we're taking the individual number, into a double type. And again, we're not using the type of int because we cannot use that with math.floor, and we know we're going to be using math.floor. So parse the variable number into a double type. And we're going to assign and we're going to assign the value to a new variable with type double. Okay, so instead of int new variable int.parse, we're going to use double, and we'll call the new variable original because this is what's going to store the original number, and we're going to assign it the value of double dot parse, and we're going to use the variable of number. So just like int, just like how we did int.parse, we're doing double.parse. And double will read it as a whole number just like int does, but we're not using int because we know that we're going to be using math.floor, and we need math. You can't use you can't use int with math.floor. Okay, so now we're going to have to round the number to the nearest integer using the math.floor method. And we know we're going to be using the statement y equals math.floor and then x plus 0.5. I don't think it's a statement, but okay. Y equals math.floor x plus 0.5. And the reason that we're doing that is because basically if you have a number, like for example 2.2, okay, and you add 0.5, it's going to round it to, well, first let's get the value of that. It's going to round that to 3. It's not going to round it at all because it's still reading only the whole number here, and the whole number is still 2. Okay? So that's going to say that 2.2 is going to be rounded to 2 because it's only going to use the value of the whole number. Now say you had the 2.7 was the original number, and you're going to add 0.5, then it will be 3.2. And so the whole number, the integer there, will be 3. So then it's going to round it up to 3. So by adding the x as your number plus 0.5, it's going to say whether it's still this number is the whole number or if it's going to round up to the next number. And that's how that equation is doing that. This statement, sure. Okay, so how we write that is going to be, let's see, we're going to use double again. So we'll say double, oh my goodness, okay, double, and then we're going to, let's say this is the value of it when it's rounded, double rounded, and we're going to assign it the value of math.floor, and then we're going to say the original number plus 0.5. Okay, so that's how it's going to be rounding up, is by using this, adding the 0.5. So it's either going to stay the same whole number or it's going to round it to the next whole number by adding that 0.5. Okay, and now we are going to want to display, let's see, the value of original, so for the original number and the value of the rounded number, both. And we're going to do that by using string interpolation. You can also use concatenation, but I'm just going to use the interpolation, string interpolation. So we'll do okay, display the value of original of the original number and the value of the rounded number. And these are the variables that this is what we named our variables as original and rounded, to get the original number and the rounded number. So we want to display those, and we're going to use string interpolation or concatenation. I think that's spelled right. Concatenation. Okay, but I'm going to be using string interpolation. So we're going to do a console.writeLine because we do want to display it. And we're going to use exactly what it says there. We're going to use a $sign and then the double quotes. And within the double quotes, we're going to say, let's see, up here I gave it a tab first. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to give it a tab. And then we're going to add in here original. And then we're going to give it 2 tabs between. And we're going to say rounded. You know, I think in the middle of these tabs here, so in the middle of the original and the rounded number, I'm going to display an equal sign. So it's like original equals rounded. What's going to say the original value equals the rounded value. It's not going to say original equals rounded. It will say original number and rounded number, but it will say the original value equals this rounded value. Okay, and then within the main method still, we're going to do a console.readLine. And you guys should know why by now. Oh well. Okay. Alright, so let's just see how that looks now and if it's correct. So it says, enter a list of decimal numbers. Each number should be separated by 1 space. So let's do 2.3 space, 4.5 space, 7.8 space, 9.9, and let's click enter and see if we get our, okay, so we definitely need some better tabs in here, huh? But let's, okay, no, and it only did the first one. So that's not right. Why is it only doing the first one? Alright, so let's see what we did wrong here. And first, let's fix what we already know is wrong, which is the space between, where is it? Okay. So let's do some extra tabs in here. So let's see if it lines up now. And then we'll worry about the, oh, no, okay, it should not be, so it did that. What it was doing is when I clicked enter, so that's not correct at all. When I clicked enter, oh, I did this within the for each thing is why. Goodness. I did this within the for each loop, and I don't want to do that because this is saying that I have to click enter to get the values, and we don't want that. So let's see now. Okay, 2.2, 3.4, let's just see. Okay, now that's better. Now we still need to fix this spacing here, but that's much better. Now if I click enter, then it will close the console, but you can see 2.2 is the rounded number is 2, the 3.4 is 3. So let's give it even some more tabs here, or let's get rid of a tab maybe. between the headers. So we only need one tab here. Let's see. Let's start it again. 2.3, 5.8. Oops. Okay, space 9.9. Let's see. All right. So let's give this like one less tab and give this one more tab. And let's give this a line between. So let's do with the original number and the rounded number. We'll do this on a new line. And then we're going to give this one one less tab. And this one more tab. Let's see the difference. So this is how it looks now. Let's see after we've tried to fix it. 2.3, 4.5, 7.9. Let's see. Oh, seriously. Okay. Okay, so that's we're getting closer, but not quite. So let's get rid of some space here. And we'll run it again. Let's see. Okay, but anyway, the app is working. It's doing what it's supposed to do. So you can, style it, make it look however you want. Let's just give this. Like, I don't know. But anyway, you can mess around with it, make it look however you want. But basically, that's it for this assignment. The only thing is trying to make it look how you want it to look, or have it display to the console how you want it to display. But the app itself is working. The numbers are correct. It's doing everything that it's supposed to do. So that is how you do the assignment. We can, like I said, you can display it however you want. You don't need the equal sign there too. Maybe I should just get rid of that. It'll probably be easier. Let's just see. So we don't need a tab there. That's too much. Let's just get rid of this, and it'll probably look better. Okay, let's just give this like a space maybe. Space. And let's try it again. Oops. I accidentally typed in an N, so it's not going to run. So I have to close this, run it again. Run it again, okay. And that looks much better just without trying to put the equal sign in there. But if you kind of worked with it for a little bit, you can, display it a lot better. I have mine like in tables, and it looks a lot different. So actually it's tables with the equal sign in between. All right, but anyway, everything is right on here. It is rounding to the nearest whole number. So that's it. That's all you need for this app. Just make sure you save it, save all, and that's it. All right, I hope this helped you guys.